The great thoughtful Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are." This is a really strong statement, and when you start to think about growing through a tragedy in life, whatever the tragedy might be, you have to start there. You have to look at it for what it is, right? It is what it is. As shitty as it is, as horrible as it might feel, it just is what it is. And until you can even do that, you're stuck. The great Viktor Frankl, who was an Austrian neuroscientist and also a psychiatrist and a Holocaust survivor, observed while he was in the concentration camps incredible things about people that would give up on belief or that would adapt certain beliefs in their situation, and then their physical bodies played out the belief that they adapted. The same thing applies in a tragic or a really tough situation. Based on what you're going to agree to, it's going to dictate your behavior, and it's going to literally create your world from that moment forward. Viktor Frankl says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. So I wanted to share a quick little training with you. This is off of a article, a blog that I did. Now, this is specifically speaking to suicide loss survivors. So if you're one of those, I feel for you. It sucks. And you can get through it. You can get through it. There are people around you that love you and care for you deeply. Hold on to them. Put yourself in a position to really be in the best spot possible. My most recent episode on the podcast series, Diary of a Suicide Loss Survivor, speaks specifically to the steps that I took to put myself in a position to be healthy and whole as I moved through this incredible, painful experience. So I encourage you to listen to that episode and take notes and kind of follow along with the advice there. But for today's little training moment, just wanted to share this with you. This is out of the blog article I wrote. The emotional waves of chaos that you're now going to find yourself swimming in are going to be intense. It's probably going to be the most intense thing you've ever experienced. For me, the first thing that I experienced was absolute shock. Like literally, are you shitting me? Like really, this just happened? It seems so surreal. And there's just no way around it. You get yourself into an emotional freeze, right? Or you set up in disbelief, like right out of the gate. And this is okay. It's not okay like it's a good thing, but it's okay. It's okay how you're feeling. The chaos of emotion is going to come with or without you. So you just got to know going in that this is what's coming. And everything you're going to feel is going to be abnormal. Like it's going to be abnormal. It's not going to be a normal situation for you. That's at a time when it is good to be abnormal. If you've ever seen the great Frankenstein with Gene Wilder in it, right? Abnormal. Anyway, that was the very first thing for me, shock. And then anger. And the anger comes quickly. And for me, it physiologically set in. Like I felt like when I found my late wife, my beautiful babe, laying there, when I found her, it felt like a horse kicked me right in the solar plex. And it was just this incredible angst. It was this incredible shock and disbelief. And then as it progressed, you start to get angry. And that's because you get anger from the loss of a loved one. You know, how could you do this to me, etc. Now, that didn't happen to me right in that moment, but you can bet your ass it happened to me within the first few days and weeks where you find yourself alone and you're like, what the hell just happened here? It's okay. That's just part of the process. Grieving through a situation like this is different than standard bereavement. There's a thing called complicated grief, and it's real. And so, I invite you to read this blog article. It might be helpful to you. The next step is desperation or despair. Easy to find ourselves in that trap. Easy to be woe is me. Easy to be lonely and sad and feeling helpless through the whole process. But don't get stuck there. The next step is rejection. You feel rejected. I literally felt that way. I can't tell you how many times I had thoughts come into my mind that were like, did she even love me? Could she have even loved me? How? How could this be? Well, that's all bullshit. It's just stuff you're making up in your head. None of us are omniscient. None of us know what the other person's thinking. Nobody's a mind reader. I don't care how much you like to watch the magicians on Vegas Strip and all that shit. No one reads minds. So nobody knows. So you're just going to try to make things up. That's just what we do. That's the chaos of emotion that happens in this space. And just knowing up front some of these things might be empowering to you as you're going to get ready to go through this process. You're going to have incredible confusion, right? You will be confused. You're going to want to try to make sense of this, and it's almost impossible. I remember I sat with this incredible counselor. She was fabulous. If you listen to the story of my last podcast episode, you get a chuckle out of it potentially, but I finally found this great counselor after multiple opportunities of attempts to try to find some help. And one thing she said to me is, she was sitting across from me and she said, Jay, I'm 100% convinced after being in front of thousands of people like you over many years, that literally she's convinced that in the moment when somebody literally actually does commit suicide, she's convinced that it's just a bad moment, like a bad 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half. And you know what? Frankly, I believe her. And that makes a lot of sense to me, and it eased my mind. It eased my mind of this space of chaos where I'm trying to just explain this, make logic of it in my own mind. You just can't do it. You don't know what they were thinking. You don't know what they were doing. Even if you think you saw that you could have done something, even if you think you saw some potential things that could have lent itself towards that, at the end of the day, you really don't know. And I'm convinced in my personal situation, there was some drug interaction going on from a prescription that she was, given that had really shitty side effects and whatever. That it is what it is. Point being, I'm convinced that she would never have done anything to hurt me. And frankly, when a person is in that space, they don't even think about that. They're not even thinking about anything except whatever is going on, whatever might be going on. I have no idea. But whatever it is, this therapist told me, she goes, I'm totally convinced that it's just so overwhelming that it becomes like a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, minute and a half. And the only thought is, I just got to stop this. And so I implore you to really think about that if you're in this situation, and just know that, hey, gain some empathy in it, some compassion, and it wasn't to do anything harmful. They were in a really bad spot, and they did what they did. And now we're here left. So what do we do? Well, you can't continue to try to make sense of it because it's not going to make sense. Now, in certain situations, and I'm speaking of things where they did something out of the blue and you didn't see it coming. Obviously, some people choose to do this with choices they make based on a health situation or whatever, and that isn't what I'm addressing here. But know this, the chaos of emotion is going to happen for you as you go through this process. Emotion creates motion. Physiologically it does, and also psychologically. So we don't want to get stuck in rumination. You don't want to just continually replay these movies of the why and the how and who could have done this to me and oh my God, I didn't see this and all of the shit that's going to go down. Try to be in a space of just observing your thoughts. They come and they go. They come and they go. And just try to be in that space and let that happen. It's really, really important because otherwise you could get stuck and it could be really tough. It's going to be hard no matter what. The storm of emotional chaos is going to be incredibly intense. I highly encourage you, listen to this last podcast episode and follow the steps. Try to get some professional help. Step number 1, be good to yourself. There's no ego and pride in getting help, professional help. There is no shame in reaching out and getting support. This is going to be a hard journey. You can get through it, and I'm going to try to do my best to share my story so that I can help you too. If you want to reach out to me, please do. I'm happy to be here for you. We've started a group Facebook page, Growing Through Tragedy. Please get involved in that. You're going to see articles and blogs that I've posted. I'm doing the podcast episode, Diary of a Suicide Loss Survivor, right now. Get into some of those podcast episodes. You'll learn a lot in those. I hope. That's my trust. And then just stay connected. I'm going to try to walk you through a process of what I stumbled through, because there wasn't a resource like this available for me. And if I had, I'd have been so grateful. So I want this for you. I don't want you to get stuck. I don't want you to be in a bad spot. And for those of you watching this who haven't gone through this, God bless you. But if you know someone who has, forward it to them. So hopefully they can get something good out of it too. Until the next learning moment, keep your head up, stay strong. You can do it. I believe in you. And have a good day.